Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are releasing the report, Muskrat Falls, a Misguided Project. The report outlines the history of the Muskrat Falls project from its inception to construction, which is now almost complete. The report, which highlights 76 key findings and some 17 recommendations. So at this time, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Honourable Justice LeBlanc, his co-counsel, his inquiry staff, and everyone who participated in the inquiry for their commitment and their dedication. The report speaks for itself. It tells the story of the Progressive Conservative government's pre-sanctioning in 2012. It states that taking the Public Utilities Board out in 2012 was a mistake by that government. They didn't give the PUB a chance to protect ratepayers in this province. If the Public Utilities Board had been involved from the very beginning, there is a very good chance that we wouldn't be here today. After financial close in 2013, it reached a point of no return. The Muskrat Falls project became what is called a runaway train. It could not be stopped. It had a CEO at Nalcor that took advantage of political bias, unrealistic optimism of the government of the day. This is a common theme throughout the report. Simply put, they wanted this project started. A theme that points to a culture at Nalcor that we know best. This report clearly indicates that the Muskrat Falls project got off to a terrible start. As you know, personally, I never supported this project. But today, I take no pleasure in saying this. I've been involved in this project during my 4 years in opposition and now in my 5th year as Premier. We have asked a lot of questions prior to this project starting, questions at the time that needed to be asked to protect the people of the province. The single biggest issue that I've heard in my political career has been about the Muskrat Falls project. A huge concern we face as a province. We are saddled with the burden of Muskrat Falls and will be for generations to come. But it didn't have to be this way. And our government has been righting the wrong ever since. Early on, we opened the books up on Muskrat Falls to examine the financial structure of the project. We did bring the Public Utilities Board back to use their proven track record to keep electricity rates affordable. We added independent oversight. We hired a new CEO. Now, I am not saying that we've been perfect. We still have more work to do when it comes to reconciliation with our Indigenous partners and to strengthen ongoing relationships. And in 2017, I called a public inquiry into the Muskrat Falls project. Called the inquiry to provide a greater understanding of what got so far out of hand. I would balloon to a $12.7 billion project. This project has been costing the people of this province on average, about $18 million a month. And you can't imagine what we could have done with that money. Over $18 million a month that could have been gone and spent into all sorts of social, economic, and health programming, supports, and services. So it was important that we do a proper inquiry. Our government put a process in place to ensure any and all information was provided to the Commissioner. In fact, Justice LeBlanc received approximately 6 million documents, and the report that's being delivered today is just over 1,000 pages in length. The sheer volume of the documentation Commissioner LeBlanc and his team deliberated over illustrates the tremendous undertaking of this inquiry. And I'm sure many of you have witnessed as you sat through the hours of testimony. We provided the Commissioner with a terms of reference that stated 4 main questions. The first question, were all options considered in the 2012 sanctioning? The Commissioner found that Nalcor did consider but unreasonably dismissed other options. The second question, why were there significant differences between the actual cost of the project and the estimated cost. The Commissioner goes into some detail on this point, but simply comes down to is that Nalcor understated and withheld financial information. Nalcor's estimates were affected by optimism bias and strategic misrepresentation and political bias. The third question, was it justified and reasonable for the project to be excluded from the Public Utilities Board oversight? The Commissioner clearly says that it was unjustified and it was unreasonable that the Public Utilities Board was taken away from providing oversight of the project. And the fourth question, was government fully informed and made aware of any risk or problems anticipated with the Muskrat Falls project so that the government had sufficient and accurate information to appropriately decide to sanction the project? And did government employ appropriate measures to oversee the project? The Commissioner found that Nalcor did not fully inform the government of the risk and problems with the project and deprived it of sufficient and accurate information to properly decide whether to sanction the project. But he also says that the government today did not provide proper oversight. The Commissioner's comments reflect what many people have said over the past number of years about this ill-conceived project. While I am disappointed, I am saddened for what has been revealed. It's disappointing. In the early days, there were no due diligence or proper oversight, which led to the culture of unrealistic optimism and an inability to change course. Significant concerns were raised throughout the report that we simply cannot ignore. Therefore, we are referring this report to the police. We are also referring the report to the Department of Justice and Public Safety to consider potential civil action. I am very cognizant that there has been thousands of people working on the Muskrat Falls project. This report is not about them or their work. So I would like to thank all those hardworking Newfoundlanders and Labradorians for their contribution, as many of them have worked tirelessly to get the Muskrat Falls project to the finish line. Residents will now know exactly what went on with the various aspects of this project. The outcomes and the impact of this inquiry and this project will live on for generations to come. Now we have the report in our hands. We will take a number of steps in reviewing the Commissioner's findings and his recommendations. As the impact of Muskrat Falls is not over, it is important for the people of our province that we ensure that no stone is left unturned. I will now pass it over to Minister Cody to outline our next steps.
Thank you, Premier. I, too, would like to thank Commissioner LeBlanc, Co-Counsel Irene Majishka, Co-Counsel Barry Learmouth, and the entire team at the inquiry for their outstanding work. It was very thorough and complete. The report, Muskrat Falls, a Misguided Project, comprises 6 volumes and over 1,000 pages and presents findings and recommendations related to the inquiry's terms of reference as announced by our government in November of 2017. Upon receiving the report on Thursday, March 5th, I was advised that the report must be reviewed for legal sensitivities related to legal matters. The Department of Natural Resources worked with legal counsel from the Department of Justice and Public Safety and consulted with Nalcor legal counsel. It was a very limited legal review. There has been decision that there will be no deferral of information. We're releasing the report in full. The report finds that the former government, quote, was determined to proceed with the development of the hydroelectric potential of the lower Churchill River, and it initiated several activities to advance this development, unquote. With an original budget of $7.4 billion, that's including financing, the Muskrat Falls project has risen to $12.7 billion, including financing. Yet findings of the Commission are that, quote, the assumptions on which the project's economics were based and promoted were not sufficiently tested, and a comprehensive examination of the range of possible outcomes was not undertaken," unquote. This tunnel vision exhibited by the former government, quote, "resulted in a combination of unrealistic optimism, a willingness to misrepresent costs, schedule, and risk, and an inability to change course when things were going wrong," unquote. Commissioner LeBlanc explained the impact of the financial close on this misguided project, saying, quote, "The project had clearly reached the point of no return when the Ball government was elected in late 2015. The real point of no return was at financial close of the FLG, the Federal Loan Guarantee, in November of 2013, unquote. As the Premier has indicated, this report will be referred to the RCMP and RNC for potential criminality and to the Department of Justice and Public Safety for potential civil litigation. We'll now take some time to analyze the recommendations as presented by the Commissioner. All recommendations included in the report will be considered as we work to incorporate lessons learned from the Muskrat Falls project. Our goal is to put processes in place to prevent such a poorly conceived project from burdening the people of the province again. Thank you. I will like to address the fact that it is being publicly released today. Some people were questioning whether or not they could have early copies. This report is a result of a public inquiry. There are a lot of people named in this report. There's a lot of information in this report, and we felt it important that we put the report in the public realm as quickly as possible and ensuring that everyone had a copy of this report at the same time.